Hi everyone, I am Oneika Raymond. I was asked to complete this video interview for the BALA group, and yeah, I'm really happy to answer some of these questions. So I'm going to do this in video format. If I look down, it's because I have the questions here. So let's get started. I actually went to university and I got a Bachelor of Arts in English and French literature. After that, I decided to get into teaching, so I got a Bachelor of Education, and then I went on after that and I got a Master's of Education. I hail from Toronto, Canada, but most recently I was living in New York City, and now I have come to Hong Kong on a work contract for 6 months. So basically, when I was in university, I hadn't traveled very much at all. I had only been to Jamaica and around the United States to visit family in both cases. And so when I got to university and I started studying and started meeting people, I realized that I would have the opportunity to go and study abroad for a year. And I was already studying French, so the natural, I guess, avenue for me to take was to go to France to complete a year-long study abroad program at a French university. That is really what ignited my fire in terms of traveling. Like, I went to France for that year and my eyes were opened to all the possibilities that existed in terms of travel and also living abroad. I met people from countries that I didn't even know existed, and for me that was just mind-blowing. In that year I had the opportunity to travel. I mean, I didn't have a lot of money, so I had to be quite creative, but I had the opportunity to travel to a few countries in Europe and also to travel to North Africa. So I went to Morocco, and after that year I was just hooked. I knew that I definitely wanted to live abroad, and I sought opportunities to live abroad. And after that I moved to France for a second year, and I loved that too, so that really got the ball rolling for me in terms of traveling and living overseas. Absolutely. Living abroad and traveling completely changed the course of my life. When I was growing up, I had never envisioned living outside of North America, and it was really in that year in France that I realized that that sort of lifestyle, a traveling lifestyle and expat lifestyle, was really within the realm of possibility for me. I became exposed to new cultures and the thrill of learning new languages and really getting outside of my comfort zone. So I would definitely recommend this sort of lifestyle for anybody who is interested, and even for people who aren't necessarily interested, because you just learn so many things about yourself and about the world, and I just think it's an incredible thing to do. I'm always very kind of reluctant to answer this question, because I feel like if I say yes, a lot of people will be immediately turned off from traveling, and I think that it's very premature to do so. With all the good comes a little bit of bad. I have experienced isolated incidents of racism and prejudice. For example, one time I wasn't let into a club, presumably because of the color of my skin, or from time to time I get racially profiled at the airport, at immigration or something like that. But to me, those incidents are so few and far between that I choose not to dwell on them. They certainly don't deter me from going abroad. So realize that there are idiots everywhere. There are racists everywhere. Racism is alive and well in many parts of North America, and that's just something as a black person you will have to deal with, which is unfortunate. I think we should fight against it. I think we should rise above it. I think that we should travel, even in the face of discrimination and prejudice and racism. That being said, I also have to say that what I've experienced has not been that major. I've never been physically attacked. I haven't really suffered, outward, acts of racism in terms of like somebody yelling racial slurs or something like that at me, at least not abroad. I have experienced prejudice and racism, but not to the degree where it would prevent me from traveling. So yeah, as I said before, I have become addicted to traveling. At last count, I have traveled to over 80 countries. I think I'm at about 84 countries, and I'm actually leaving tonight to fly to the southern part of Africa. I'm flying into South Africa, and then I'll be traveling as well to Zambia and Botswana. I've been to a lot of places on 6 continents. As for my favorite, that's really, really difficult to say. Some of the most, physically stunning places I've been to, or some of the places that I felt most comfortable in, have enjoyed the most, are Brazil. So I really enjoyed myself in Rio de Janeiro. I was blown away by the history and the culture in Egypt. And I recently traveled to Bolivia, which is in South America, and the landscapes there just blew me away. The landscapes in the desert found in Bolivia, which is called the Uyuni Desert, basically blew every other thing I've ever seen on my travels out of the water. I also love the south of France, so I lived in France for 2 years. The south of France in particular, the Riviera, really resonates with me. My ultimate goal is just to keep on learning and growing as a global citizen. I mean, I love living abroad because I love learning about new cultures and new people. I love learning new languages, and I just love discovering. So at this current moment, I am actually in Hong Kong. I am a high school teacher by trade, and I am here on a work contract. But in a few hours from now, I'm actually flying to South Africa, as I said earlier on, and I haven't packed anything yet, so I need to get my life together. I would encourage people who want to live or travel overseas to just do it. I think we spend a lot of time thinking and planning and doubting and psyching ourselves out of stuff, and I think we end up dragging our feet, and before we know it, the window of opportunity has passed, or so we think, and then we just don't do it. So I would encourage you, definitely to do your research, but to just go out and do it. I think there's so much information to be gleaned from people who already live overseas, like myself, or people who travel extensively. Definitely blogs are a huge help. So I write a blog, oneikathetraveler.com, where I have information about a lot of the destinations that I've traveled to, as well as what it is to, or what it's like to live and work abroad. I would encourage people to keep themselves informed and to be very open-minded and to ask questions. The Black Americans Living Abroad group is an excellent resource for those who are wanting to, make that leap. That's basically about it. This is my interview for BALA. Thank you so much for having me, and take care. Bye.